public hearing on the proposed appropriation decrease for public health. And that is a resolution. Would you like to read the resolution, Laura?
Yep. Resolution, 8/21/2023B. Whereas the Tama County Board of Supervisors have held 2 public hearings regarding the de-appropriation of funds for the Tama County Public Health Department due to a specific line item in their budget being for claims that are past the 2-year limitation. And whereas the supervisors have sought legal advice on the matter regarding the limitation, therefore be it resolved that the Tama County Board of Supervisors de-appropriate $51,000 from the Tama County Public Health budget item, time and transfer.
Okay.
That is what is open for discussion.
So I'm here to clear up any misconceptions in regard to chapter 69. If anybody has questions in regards to chapter 69, I am the county sanitarian, been in the position for 2 years. I've taken a 16-hour course on chapter 69 from DMAC. I'm also a certified installer of wastewater treatment systems. This is another 16-hour course. I'm also a certified time and transfer inspector, another 16-hour course, as well as the job experience. I've been to Ashley's site, which we're talking about, with the head of the DNR that administers chapter 69. So I feel like, without being too boastful, I'm probably the expert on chapter 69 in this room right now. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to clear those up. I think there's 2 big misconceptions I think that are around in the time and transfer inspection process. The first one is that the time and transfer inspectors are indeed a third party. They are certified inspectors, which I am one. Sharnwebers is one. Champion is one. In the county, there's hundreds of them throughout the state, but the ones I see the most common are Cooley's, Champion, and Sharnwebers. So they are the third party that come and do the inspections. The inspection report then has 10 days to travel to me as the sanitarian. And then I make a decision on whether or not there needs to be any kind of improvement based on the criteria in chapter 69. So I want to clear up first of all, that the inspectors are not the ones that pass or fail anything. And the inspectors are a third party. So to me, it seemed like there was a large misconception about that out there. So in regards to Ashley's property or any of the properties, I'm here to answer any questions you may have, because I feel like there is some misunderstanding on whether or not it should have passed or should have failed. So I'd be glad to answer those, and I do also want to make it known that, to be honest with you, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's case after case after case after case that Carlton made go away when I first started out here, and there's going to be case after case after case. So I guess, the agreement that the Board of Health did, whether or not it was legally the right thing to do, it was done in good faith, and it was done to try to do what was right, and to be considerate and compassionate to a citizen of Tama County, which I applaud them for, and I would urge you to try to consider some kind of solution, because like I said, it's not really Ashley and Mr. Boley. This is just a very small tip of the iceberg, and it would be nice to set a precedent, and I think in the long run, you're gonna find that, Ashley's and Mr. Boley's goes to court, you're gonna end up paying a lot more for the damages than what they had agreed on, so. Yeah, I've reached out to you, Bill, I know, and wanted to set up a meeting with the Board of Health, the Board of Supervisors, and Corey Frank, the head of the DNR, so that we can all get together on the same page, because I don't feel like we're operating as a team, which is sad. And the invitation is here publicly now to you. That invitation is there and always there to have communication and an open meeting where we're all adults and sit down and talk and come to, solutions that are beneficial to everybody. So that door is always open.
So your invitation was rejected, is that what you're saying?
Yes, it was rejected.
Yes, it was. Okay, I have a spot right here, if you would like to comment on it. It says, the private sewage disposal system is properly treating wastewater and not creating an unsanitary condition in system is not required to meet current construction standards.
Correct. It's creating an unsanitary condition by the fact that it's a 400-gallon tank without any baffle in the middle. It's also leaking, so there is no
The
way.
report I read said it was not leaking.
Right, and the report was incorrect. You can see by the pictures that it is not indeed water. It's not, you can tell it's leaking. I mean, you can tell from the pictures in 2018, so that's the reason why it's failed. I mean, you can see right there that it's not waterproof, watertight. When Corey and I were out there, we probed the bottom of the tank. There was no bottom to the tank. There's guidance been put out in the time of transfer inspections that anything under 500 gallons is a fail. It's not in code, but it's due to the fact that when you do go to code, and right after that paragraph that you just read to me, it says, however, the discharge restrictions in paragraph 6913B shall always apply, so then you need to go back to 6913B. It is prohibited to discharge any wastewater from private sewage disposal systems except as permitted in this chapter to any ditch, stream, pond, lake, natural or artificial waterway, county drain tile, surface water drain tile, or land drain tile to the groundwater or to the surface of the ground. Under no condition shall effluent from private sewage disposal systems be discharged to any abandoned well, agricultural drainage well, or sinkhole. Existing discharges to any of the above listed locations or structures shall be eliminated by the construction of a system in compliance with their primary rules. And that supersedes what you just got done talking about. So it's a 400-gallon tank without a baffle. So if you understand the whole septic system, the primary treatment is done in the tank, okay? The solids settle, the liquids go over the baffle, and it goes out. So you have a 400-gallon tank that's too small for any settling to occur, and there's no baffle for the liquids to go over the top. So you are essentially sending raw effluent out into the groundwater, which is what we just discussed in here. And like I said, Corey Frank has been out there, he agrees with my decision. I've had other sanitarians from Iowa County, from Blackhawk County, look at this. It's a clear fail. So, I don't know, I'm sorry, for you to sit up there in your position and make a determination, I don't feel like it's a very educated one, and compared to a person that has been to classes on chapter 69, is a certified time and transfer inspector, certified installer of wastewater. The head of the DNR has come and said it's a fail, and other sanitarians in neighboring counties. So, I'm sorry that you don't necessarily hear it, Bill, but it was in 2018 a failing system. It is currently, or it was, now it's fixed, so. Does that answer your question?
Just a difference of opinions.
Yep, I would agree with you, Bill, and as the county sanitarian and the head of the DNR, Corey Frank's opinion, it was a fail, so. Okay. And I guess I would hope that you would want to become more educated on it, and again, the offer is extended for you and the rest of the board to sit down and have that conversation with Corey in the room, so that you guys can hopefully have a better understanding of that.
Can I stand here, or do you want me to come up there?
You're all right, you're all right.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm making your job a little harder. I wanna know, I'm gonna pose to you guys, after I left last time, I said, just do your research. So I'm going to ask you guys, what research have you done for this situation?
Okay, we have a letter from a lawyer.
Which lawyer?
Kayla. It's Kayla from.
Kayla,
From the same law
Joe
firm then?
Gamble. Joe Gamble's law firm.
from Joe Gamble.
Same one though, the same one that Carlton worked for?
No, he does, Carlton worked for a different firm. She is from a different firm.
But
They're
they're the
not
same
from-
ones that work together, right? If
They
I-
came together that day because he is leaving, and he asked her if she would be interested in working with us as an attorney for the county.
Okay.
And, yeah, but they were not at the same firm,
Okay,
different firms.
but it's still the same answer we already had, correct?
Okay, in our letter, says the confusion in the statute of limitations likely lies in that the general statute of limitations for this claim would be 5 years. That 5-year statute of limitations remains in place if each landowner would sue the seller of the property for a claim relating to the septic system. However, this does not the statute of limitations that would apply to Tama County as a municipality.
Okay.
It says in Iowa, the statute of limitations for suing a municipality or municipal official conducting their official duties is covered by Iowa Code Section 670.5. The limitation period is 2 years after the alleged injury. The reason for the shorter limitation period on actions against municipalities is that they operate under greater fiscal constraints than the state does. The municipalities have special problems with respect to formulating and implementing budgets. The Iowa Supreme Court has repeatedly held that statute of limitations commences at the date of the injury, not the date of discovery of the injury, and has denied any application of a discovery rule to the statute.
Okay,
And
so,
that is why we are under a 2-year statute of limitations.
well, the one thing I asked you to do was seek other lawyers, not ones you've already talked to. That was specifically a request of mine, and we didn't do that. So my next thing is I wanted you to make sure you did your research, because while you say you can't pay me for this, you are doing something else illegal. Are you familiar with the word an estoppel? Where you promise to do something, somebody does it, and it costs them money, and then you take your word back. That is what an estoppel is. You're now doing that to me. You've changed my financial status, which is what my lawyer has drafted up now, is that you are doing something else illegal now by changing my financial status. You went back on your word saying you would pay it. I waited for that word. It came to me, said, yep, our budget's approved. You can go ahead and do it. So I waited for that to happen, and now I'm stuck with the full bill, which is illegal. So that's why I was asking you to fully do your research. Like Chris said, tip of the iceberg. I was willing to just half of it. Like I said, not my fault, not your fault, not his fault. Not my fault. Mainly, not my fault. Shouldn't have passed in 2018. Shouldn't have done it at all. Be human. They were. They did what was right, he said. They did what was right. I'm asking you to do what is right. As I said, what you're doing now by promising me money, and I did the work, is also illegal. So pick which one you're going to be illegal about. I guess I'd rather pay me and be good human beings if I'm going to be illegal than get sued and still be illegal. That's what I'm asking for. I did my research too. And you two even coming out to me that day, Kurt wasn't there. We had a whole meeting out there you weren't even aware of when you were telling me that I should have passed. Now if I'm correct, that's a quorum. It shouldn't have happened either. Just do what's right, that's all I'm asking. I was very willing to settle for half when I shouldn't have had to pay a dang dime. And now, like I've said, I am a single mother of 3 working as a teacher. I don't got $15,000 laying around at all. I am doing my very best. And if you're going to be illegal, at least be a human being. Do good.
I said it last time, I'm gonna say it again this time. Your word has to account for something. You passed it in the budget. You are supposed to be aware of what you're passing. You are supposed to be fiscally responsible. You passed this, none of this was my daughter's fault. Not a single thing is her fault. She very willingly accepted half of this responsibility and should not have had to. You promised to pay half. That is your responsibility, and you need to keep your word.
And one other thing, last time you guys said you didn't know what that special line item was. Well, reaching out to Shannon and everybody, and they said that, they talked to Laura Copson, and it was all recorded, and they specifically asked what that special line item was. It was explained. So when everyone was sitting here like, well, we didn't know what it was, well, it was explained to somebody in your department. So, it was explained. So you guys sat here last time and told me that you didn't know what that was. Well, they say otherwise, that, yeah, they specifically said what it was for. And that they budgeted for more because they thought more people would come forward. And that's why they were doing it. So.
You know, this whole thing's been a shit show since it started. And I think you guys had the right deal. We'll all assume responsibility, we'll cut the cost in half, we're all to blame. Nobody the wiser, or to blame for it, but we're all accepting some blame. Because it's been screwed up from the get-go. And it's none of her doing. And now you guys are sitting here saying she's gotta foot the bill for everybody else's mistake. Let's resume, be responsible for our actions. You know? I think the gentleman up front there had the right idea. Split it in half. I think that's more than fair. We all assume responsibility. I don't see this hiding behind the statute limitation. That's BS. You guys knew that when you passed your budget. You guys knew that when you had your little conference out in the hallway. Now you're going back. If you ain't got your word, you ain't got nothing. I live by my word. If I say something, I tried my damnedest to do it. And if you guys don't think you gotta do it, hey, that's on you. But I don't choose to live that way. My word is my bond. And if you ain't got that, you ain't got squat. And we all know that. Because you can't say something to somebody and then, oh, I never said that. You're on your own. You know, you sound like a used car dealer. You know, promise the world. I should have said politician. You know, and we've all been through that. We've all seen politicians give these speeches, and then after the speech, some other boob comes on and tells you what he didn't say. And you heard his speech. That's not what you heard, but everybody says, oh, that's not what he meant. Well, yeah. You gotta be a man of your word, or a person of your word, excuse me. That's all. I think that was more than fair, splitting the cost. I don't know what more anybody would ask. You know, we all share responsibility. We'll split it in half, be done with it, move on.
And the one to have him sit there and say, I tried to set up a meeting, someone that knows more about this than you do, you say no, decline it, can't even give her a phone call back, so to me, you're not doing your due diligence on your job.
Bill, what's your rationale for not sitting down with Chris and the DNR and the Public Health Board? I'd be interested in knowing why you said no.
We've had our differences for 2 years.
But you still need to do your job.
And, okay. And from the first time Chris came into this office, he never respected the supervisor.
Could I
Period.
ask that either? Could I ask
You know,
what
Bill,
I
there's
did?
this thing is you
that
got
was
to earn
disrespectful?
respect.
Agreed back there, thank you. And what specific actions are you referring to, Bill?
It isn't recorded, so.
We can't say it in public.
Bill, you had somebody coming into the sanitation department who was doing his job and who was following code. You know, that's what I'm gathering from this gist. And obviously he found discrepancies. To me, I think it's vitally important that all parties communicate openly, discuss, try and find a solution, do some creative brainstorming. This is absolutely ridiculous that Tama County citizens are having to sue the Board of Supervisors when, to me, it would be far far easier to just sit down and powwow and find a solution to this that's equitable for everyone. And I feel that there is such a wall here because communication is so vital and so important. And sometimes you have to take the emotion out of the game and you have to sit down and brainstorm and come up with a solution. I would think your main DNR guy would be a valuable input. Chris sounds like he's very, very well versed in what he does for his position. Why are we not utilizing their knowledge? Okay? They're the experts. Maybe between the three of you, you can come up with a solution that's equitable for everyone involved here, rather than contacting lawyers and going to court and all that stuff. But it starts with communication, Bill. You just don't put the hammer down and say, nope, we're not gonna have a meeting. And it takes a big man to do that, okay? But you have to do it. You're in a leadership position. All three of you are in a leadership position. You are our leaders of Tama County. So let's show it. The very least you can do is sit down with all parties involved and say, yes, this is what happened. It should not have happened. There should have been closer observation of who was doing the job, okay? But I would think between a half a dozen people, you could come up with a very good solution to this issue. Because keep in mind, there's a whole lot more people behind the door here that are gonna have problems. Are you gonna tell them the same thing that you're telling the commission here? I mean, can you imagine the uproar that that's gonna cause in this county? So at the very least, guys, get together, talk, hammer it out, and let's get a solution done. This has gone on long enough, guys, okay? Long enough. So it's time to get a solution. Bill, that starts with you, sir. I have respect for you. I know you're in the hot seat, okay? But it's up to you to show the leadership and convene a meeting and get this done. Okay?
It was asked a few meetings ago if there was a law that specifically said if it was illegal to pay past that statute of limitations or just not required. Do you have that? You were very convinced that it was illegal to pay past the statute of limitations. Do you have that statute that we can reference?
It is illegal.
To back that?
We cannot make payments.
And which statute is that?
I don't know what statute.
That's what I asked you guys to
Because we'd asked that in previous meetings.
I did get stuff for you, but you weren't here last week. I might have took it out of my, I think I might have took it out. I do have your paperwork. Laura, did I leave that with, oh, yes, it's here. Isn't it here? The document for her? I think I left it on.
Is it this one?
Yes. On the back of that, is that the code?
Limitation of actions? Yep.
That's it. You can pass that to her. Or that actually goes to Ashley.
You can read the code.
Yeah, you can read it if you want. That's Ashley's document.
Richard.
I've been sitting here quietly listening to everybody. The problem here is the former sanitarian approved systems that, according to the current sanitarian, don't pass code. That's the bottom line we have to look at and say, and I realize, the 2-year limitation, I understand that all. But what's right for the county people who had their septic system approved, then turn around and want to resell or whatever, and Chris comes in, according to code, doesn't approve it. I can fully understand why Ashley back here would say, hey, what's going on with the county? And, to me as a county taxpayer, I don't want to pay that $51,000 worth of taxes, but I can also see that when these people that were done wrong by one sanitary and approving a situation, and the next one, according to the code, not approving it, if we don't pay these out, which I know you guys don't wanna do, we're gonna end up spending more money, hiring lawyers, and paying, far more money out. And I don't know why we can't sit down and figure something out so that, you know, I don't think anybody's gonna complain about paying this $51,000 now. You guys approved it twice, and then all of a sudden, you know, we got Carlton involved, and we got such a mess here, such a disagreement.
We can't write illegal checks, Richard.
I know.
You're gonna be illegal anyway, because you now have done something else illegal. So that's what I'm saying. You're illegal this way, you're saying if you write the check, which this actually does not say. That is not what this says. This is a verbatim bill read to me. It does not say anywhere in here, it just says they don't have to. It does not say they can't. Not anywhere in here does it say you can't.
There is a code that says they can't.
Then where is it?
Bring it up here then.
Well,
That's my-
no, I'm
that-
gonna need it right this second.
Tim,
You can
that's
look it
what I
up,
was
it's
asking
in the
them
code
to
of
do
Iowa.
though. I asked them that meeting, do your research. I specifically asked you, find where it tells me that that is absolutely illegal, that you can't do it. Not that you just shouldn't do it, you don't have to, but you can't. So again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna suggest again, table this until you do your research again. Figure out if you can't pay me, or if it's actually illegal. Because that's not what this says.
Tammy, I have searched the code. I couldn't find it, so that's why I was
It's in there.
asking which
I'll
code
get
it is.
Yeah, I'll have to get it, I'm sure I have it in my office.
And Tammy, no offense, and I know you do your research, and I know you work hard, but you're not a lawyer. I want a lawyer.
It came from the lawyer sent it to me, that's why I have that
And-
code section. I have nothing to say, I mean, it's the code, I got nothing.
Well, then the
I
code
can't
should have been
interpret it.
brought here. We had a month to get it. We should have had it at this meeting and been prepared.
This doesn't say anything like that.
It seems to me that we're hung up on the statute of limitations. Now, you're saying your lawyer says 2 years, your lawyer says 5. There's a difference of opinion.
We're a municipality, that's why it's 2-year statute of limitations, in the code it says, we're a municipality, so it's 2 years.
Her lawyer says 5.
I know,
And,
but it's the
So
code of
that's why I say you
Iowa.
got difference of opinion.
Well, we have to follow the code of Iowa, that's what.
then we
have
should
to
have
do.
followed the code for reviewing the budget, and then we wouldn't have created an estoppel, and then we wouldn't have changed, and then nothing would have happened. I mean, we're looking at this going, okay, yes, you know, Todd, he didn't do his job. He passed things that shouldn't have been passed. Great. Still not on me. Okay? All right, you guys get a budget. It was explained out of the woman's mouth that read the budget that she went over that line item. You approved it twice. So you didn't do your job, because now you're taking it back on me. You know what this doesn't have? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I sold my house. I got divorced and sold my house.
Well, what I'm saying, the statute of limitations, you got 2 different lawyers saying something different. And nobody knows what yet. You know, you can have 5 different lawyers read the same sentence, they're all 5 gonna say it says something different. So, you know, you're gonna have to figure out who's right and who's wrong. You know, your lawyer says he's right, her lawyer says he's right. Who knows who's right?
Well, that's
You
why
know?
you need to go to other attorneys. Ehlers and Cooney is part of Tama counties. Ask them. Any one of you 3 can ask them. Why not get more opinions? There's them that, you know, is already with Tama County versus trying to go to other ones. Just get other opinions.
I have a question. The statute of limitations relates to the municipality paying this back with taxpayer money, correct? Don't we have insurance for when the county makes mistakes? That the insurance should cover this mistake, not the taxpayer money?
The
What-
insurance denied it. She has the.
Why
paper.
would the insurance deny it if it's a clear county mistake? Or why did you accept that denial when you know it's a clear county mistake? Any 3 of you. Of course they're gonna deny it, they don't wanna pay it, but why shouldn't they?
I don't
Did-
believe I was around for that part of it. Was that before the first year?
Yeah, I think so, or maybe right after.
Yeah.
Right close to.
Yeah.
But
around that
did-
area.
Do you think they should be liable for that because it's a clear county mistake?
They won't because they're following the code. Again, we have to follow the code. Insurance.
That's the code, no, what I just asked was the code says you can't use county money to pay it.
Who's gonna
That's
pay for it?
the insurance
No,
company.
they're saying we're not liable because it's past the 2-year statute of limitations.
Well, to pay with
Agree or not, I
counties.
mean, whether you are.
Well,
I
that's
mean, I
why
don't
we need
know.
to check with another attorney
I'm just
because
saying. Well, we
if
have
if the code says you can't pay with county money, taxpayer money, that's one thing versus
Insurance
the
money.
insurance money, that's a different thing, so.
They won't pay
The
it.
insurance company's already
They
denied
already
it.
said
Well,
no.
we need to check with someone else then.
How is there a statute of limitations when the job wasn't completed correctly?
It was-
I
So
think,
how
I
does
think
that
you guys
start?
have lost sight. First of all, whether the money leaves public health's fund and goes back to the general fund or not, doesn't matter really, about the situation, because if the county was liable for something, whether it's in the public health fund or in the general fund, they would still pay it. So that's not really the biggest issue. I mean, I understand what you guys are saying, but really, it doesn't matter where that money's gonna go back into the general fund, so even if they had to pay out of it, it would come out of the general fund. If the board of supervisors were responsible, it'd have to come out of that fund. You see what I'm saying? So moving money back over to the county's, general fund has nothing to do with liability or anything
I'm not
else.
talking about moving it, I'm talking about the insurance company.
Well, I'm telling you, the
So,
insurance said, no, that's the company we have, I don't know.
Then maybe,
That's
The
it.
money moves over to pay the attorneys that are telling us not to do it, so, makes sense, right?
And it is, I mean, we keep saying that it's not, you're not liable for this. The heck you aren't, Tama County is liable for this. Sorry, I didn't get divorced sooner and move in 2 years, but it absolutely was Tama County's fault, 110%. I didn't pass it, Tama County passed it when it shouldn't have passed. Tama County is responsible for the mistake, but because I found it in 4 years rather than 2, that makes it all my problem now? How's that right or fair?
More specifically, most businesses insure their employees. This county insures its employees. Therefore, Todd Apple's screw-ups that are being protected right now should be covered by insurance. And he's
First
got
of all-
plenty of screw-ups
Well,
that are gonna come to light.
I
Tammy.
don't think it's fair for everybody to sit here and convict Todd without,
Well, he
He
should
has
be here
not
to
had-
defend himself right now. He's never been in here to defend himself, ever.
well, he,
He,
You know, he's-
we hardly even knew who he was for over a year. But we always saw you instead of him.
Well, if I gotta put the blame on somebody, who else do you want me to put the blame on again?
On Tammy.
No,
what?
I mean,
Go ahead.
Todd's
got
the
big
one that did
shoulders,
it, Todd
I'm good.
passed it and it shouldn't have passed, so I don't understand where I'm supposed to put the blame. I'm reaching out at all avenues here, trying to do whatever is right. And the only person trying to do things right is the one that's gonna get screwed in the end.
So who is responsible for the former sanitation's mistakes? Who do you work for?
Work for Tama County.
So is Tama County responsible for these mistakes? He was an employee of the county. Bill?
They'll just swallow
Up
it
until
and make up. You know?
We have a statute of limitations we gotta go by. We
The
gotta go
statute
by.
of limitations, like I said earlier, is BS. You know what's right.
We know what's right, but we still have to go by code as a county municipality.
And we don't know what that is, cause her lawyer says it's 5 years. So we're still in a gray area.
I just read that right here.
What does it say? What does it mean? In layman's terms. You read something that a lawyer drew up. And like I said earlier, You can have 5 lawyers read the same sentence, they're all gonna say it says something different. Correct?
We're not gonna go out and hire 50 lawyers to make everybody happy.
Well, then,
Okay?
fine, then you wanna go to court and
All we
decide it?
wanna do is de-appropriate the Department of Health fund and put it back into our general fund. So the money's still gonna be there.
But not in my pocket where it should be.
Are you gonna help her fund this bill halfway like you promised?
You have to pay half of it, you should pay all of it.
Should. I think she was more than fair in splitting the mistake with you. Since it was none of her mistake. It all relies on the county mistake. Doesn't it? You guys have admitted it. You passed it in your budget. You voted on it twice. Now you're reneging. Now what more do you want from her?
Where's that,
It's all your mistake.
where's
Or
that
county.
$51,000 going to go? Is there gonna be another quick appearance by our treasurer to transfer that fund also?
It'll go into the general fund.
So why can't you
It's used
just,
to pay the bills for this county.
why can't you just pay these 2 people that you guys promised? I mean, 7,500 each isn't that much, it's a spit in the bucket to the county. Because you made a promise, could you at least pay them?
And then move the remainder back into the general fund after, cause it wasn't the full
Subtract it out.
51,000.
Pay and be done.
They had your word.
You know, if Carlton wouldn't have read that article in the Tama's Window newspaper, if he would have had no knowledge of that, this would have all been done already. So I guess I'm just kinda curious, what would have happened after the fact? If somewhere down the road, if they would have found out, okay, we paid Ashley, but we shouldn't have, then what? You know, this all hinges on Carlton reading that article in the newspaper. That's when he got all fired up and said, oh, we can't do that because it's illegal. But if Carlton wouldn't have read that article, this would have passed, and it would have been a done deal.
My lawyers actually laughed when I said, you guys said it was legal, because the state could find out, and they said, the state is never gonna look at this. This is minor to them, where it's a massive deal to me.
I guess I'm just also curious to know what your procedure is when you have a county employee that makes major mistakes. What is your process to correct that? Is there something on the books that say, whatever department, they make a major mistake? You know, who holds the liability and responsibility there? To me, it's the Tama County Board of Supervisors, if I'm not mistaken.
It's all gonna cost us more money in the long run, if we go to court.
Maybe it would be a good idea to powwow with DNR and Mr. Abrams up there and figure out a really good workable solution to this. I think that's the least that can be done.
Well, I think you've basically got 2 issues now, though. The one is that, you're saying the state code says that you can't pay it. We don't actually have the code that says it's illegal, just, not required. And then the other issue that you had promised the money and approved the budget of the money. And I don't remember, what word was it? Estoppel. So I mean, that money had been promised by the county to her.
She did the
It's a
work.
no, yeah. I mean, you're kind of in a no-win, but you need to look for what's gonna be best for the county in the long run,
We can't
if you're
write-
between 2 illegal issues.
We can't write illegal checks out of this $51,000 that the, Board of Health has, the Public Health Department has. So we're gonna put that over into our budget, and we can't write illegal checks, I mean, you just can't do
So
that.
what's your solution then?
My solution is, today, I'm not gonna sign up to sign any checks, they're illegal. You
Okay,
can't,
how are you
you
gonna
can't
do it
expect
before?
us to do that.
Well, then, how are you going, then you should have known that before you approved it. So my question is, if you're gonna take the money away, which I already concluded you've made your mind up, but how are you gonna make this right? Seriously, so, get together, figure it out. I don't care if it comes 2,000 from you, 2,000 from you, 2,000 from you. How are we gonna make this right? Cause it sure as heck isn't my fault.
But how were you gonna do it before? When you made this agreement to begin with to pay the half of it, how were you gonna write the check then?
You can't write it out of this account.
So we're
But
going
you
past it.
You passed it, you were gonna pay half of it, right?
I don't think we'll pass
It was in the budget.
You ever remember anything like that?
No, we
The 50
we approved the
was on
budget,
this.
we approved the
We
budget,
approved
yes.
the budget.
You approved the budget that you were gonna pay half of it, $7,500. How were you gonna write the check then? How were you planning to do it? Anyone?
The answer would be okay.
I believe when the budget was passed, you were aware that it was illegal or against.
We didn't know it was illegal.
You do your job.
Do your job.
Why does the citizen of Tama County gotta pay for your mistakes? Be responsible. We got enough politicians in Washington that ain't responsible. We see it every day. Don't be one of them.
Ashley has other things to worry about besides this, being a single mom.
All we wanna do today is move the money from the Department of Health to the general fund,
So you have a
Tama County.
So then, Bill, okay, if you do that today, if you transfer the 51,000 back into the general fund, what is the supervisor's plan to address Ashley's problem, the other homeowners, and all the rest of them that are gonna come after her, because you know they're coming. They just have to sell their house first and find out, oh, we have a huge problem. So what is the supervisor's plan of action for that? You know, yes, you probably do have the right to transfer those funds over to the general fund, okay? But I wanna hear what your plan is to address this specific issue. So far, I've not heard a real credible plan, brainstorming and so forth, what your plan is to address this issue. Cause that's what needs to be done, John. A concrete plan. You probably got about, I don't know, Chris, maybe you can relate to this. How many other situations are gonna come to light here that people are gonna find out that their septic system isn't up to code?
Well,
A dozen?
It's hard to predict because it, based on who decides to sell their house, but there's 6 currently right now that have been there since I started. 4 of them have been there since I started, and then Billy's and Ashley's came about after my time.
And there's gonna be many more, but then of course the statute of limitations will run out. These people thought that they got a good assessment done. In fact, I think there's a fee that you have to pay to get that done too. So, they were operating on good terms with the county. They paid their fee, they got their septic system evaluated, job done. They can sell their house. The problem is that it was not a good assessment done. It was not a good evaluation. Code was not followed. So you three need to come up with a plan specifically on how you are going to address this. You can transfer your money. You have probably the right to do that. But what's missing here is a plan from you three to address all these homeowners on what your plan of action is. And if you're gonna tell them, sorry, 2-year statute of limitations, that is not gonna bode well for this county, and it's not gonna bode well for your leadership, okay? So the 3 of you really need to get together with somebody who's an expert, first row, and your DNR guy, and come up with a plan. That's the very least that can be done here.
So you